Hi, I'm Tom Hill III. Here we are for our Thursday night series, Tom Hill Live at Brass City TV. Welcome. I want to give you our phone number. We'll take calls on topic, please. 203-753-7593. I'll repeat that. 203-753-7593. And you can tell your friends and relatives if they're out of the cable system, they can go to the Brass City YouTube page where we're live and can take the phone calls here. We've mixed it up with a lot of different guests, but tonight I'm thrilled to have an old friend of mine who also became a business colleague, and you know him as Harold Zinno from the Harold Zinno Big Band and the Harold Zinno Jazz Quintet, amongst other things. Harold, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
You were hard to get.
Well,
I think 2 or 3 times I called you.
yes. Good things happen for those that wait.
That's a good thing. And do you have any recollection of being on my old cable TV show 30 years ago?
I do, with the full band.
Wow. Those were the
Yes.
days.
Yes.
We've been talking to Al 1 and Al 2 in the control room about fixing us up. I bought a couple of mini amps and trying to put together a back
A little
line.
back line.
And tell the people in the audience what a back line is.
A back line for a band is for the musicians that are required to move a lot of equipment to be able to just walk in and play, because there's a bass amp, a guitar amp, set of drums, keyboard, PA system, etc.
Handy. So that'll be a nice little expense on my part, and I'm hoping for underwriting once we get the rules here on what we can do, because you know I'm a commercial salesman, so if I can get some sponsors, we can get some music equipment. So Harold, I can't even think of how long I've known you. I know that somebody, Will, and a couple of these Als asked about the Zinno Music. Did you once own a music store? So let's start there.
I did. In, I believe it was 1981, my cousin Bob Zinno and myself got together and we opened Zinno Music on Wolcott Street in Waterbury, Connecticut.
And I think I knew it from Meriden Road.
Yes. The Wolcott Street store was our first store. As the business grew, we moved into the old Johnny's Meat Market.
Oh, that's it.
On Meriden Road.
I worked there as a teenager.
Yeah.
My father sold Johnny cars, big station wagons, and he made me go work there. And after 3 weeks, I had mono. He worked us so hard. Oh, my God. But the music store was unbelievable a few weeks ago, and you can get this on our YouTube page, Brass City TV. I had 2 shows with Chris Big Dog Davis, and we'll have his brother Will on a little later tonight from the 3D Music Academy. But what you did to Johnny's Meat Market, I mean, there was loads of keyboards and guitars. What a showroom, loads of teachers. And I've always heard the story about Chris Big Dog Davis coming in and trying out all the pianos and synthesizers to the musical salespeople's delight.
Yes, he was a welcome guest all the time. And at one point, he owned a Yamaha CP70B, which was an electric grand piano, and it was the size of a mini grand piano as you would see in your house. And he wanted to trade it in. And he pulled up in front of the store, and he took it out of the trunk all by himself, which usually it takes 2 or 3 guys to move this. And he just brought it in his arms like that.
If you turn back 2 weeks on the Brass City TV YouTube page, you can learn all about Chris Big Dog Davis. He's a big, fit dude. So, you know what's nice about, you just summed up for me Zinno Music in the old Johnny's Meat Market on Meriden Road. You said that Chris Davis was a welcome guest. Do you think because of your welcoming style that was one of your successes?
Yeah, I've, over the years after the store transcended, into different ownership and moved out of the Waterbury area, I've gotten contacted by, many people, students that we had, people that have moved to Puerto Rico, and they've posted on Facebook what a wonderful time in their life it was to come to my store.
And talk about some of your music teachers and people that were on the floor to talk about the instruments and maybe give some lessons.
I was very fortunate to have, very knowledgeable salesmen. Jim Wilkes was our keyboard salesman, master keyboardist, musician, saxophonist. I had, at the time, Tom Davino as a drum instructor, Bob Turek as a bass instructor.
You had him too?
All these people that play in these outrageous bands around the area were teaching in my store. At one point, we had so many students, we had our annual recitals. On a Sunday, we had to have two recitals, one in the afternoon and one at night. We used to hold them at Kennedy High School, and there were so many kids, we had to have two different programs.
Love it. So I don't want to go. I want to keep moving in a few directions. You're a well-known trumpet player, band leader. I know you from, as I stated earlier, the Harold Zinno Jazz Quintet. I think I've seen it as a sextet, three-piece, four-piece, six-piece. Beautiful singer. We'll get to her in a minute. But let's talk about your musical education and how you got to where you are today.
I started taking private trumpet lessons when I was in high school. Prior to that, my first music teacher, who became a dear friend of mine until he passed away all my life, was Mickey Lang. He had a music store on East Main Street, and he was my first teacher at St. Mary's School in Waterbury. When I got to high school, I took private trumpet lessons from Carl Berg, who at the time ran DeVito Music in downtown. Prior to Carl coming to Waterbury, he was the lead trumpet player on the Harry James Band.
And that was Holy Cross?
Yes.
I want to come back to why there's so many good musicians in Waterbury that make it anywhere, but let's go on to your college because you pursued music in college, I can tell by the name of the college.
I got out of Holy Cross. I went to Hart College, but I only went there for a semester. My interest in music always ran along the jazz genre. And at the time, Hart College did not have any jazz programs, and it was strictly classical. And I didn't last long there because my interests lied elsewhere. I left there and I went to Southern Connecticut State University for about a year, and I was an English major. Unhappy with being an English major, I said, let me try Central Connecticut State University where they had a music program. So I went there. They had a little jazz band. I found out very quickly that I was as good or a little more advanced than the trumpet teacher there.
Uh-oh.
And it was time for me to move on. A friend of mine that I went to high school with, Mr. Jim McLaughlin, was at the time at North Texas State University in Denton, Texas. He says, why don't you come down and check this place out? So I flew down there, and I was totally blown away by the whole scene. It was the biggest jazz school in the United States. They turned out musicians left and right that went on the Buddy Rich Band, the Stan Kenton Orchestra, the Woody Herman Band. And so that's where I landed, and that's where I graduated from.
And so if you went to Texas, how long did you stay there? What, three?
I was in Texas for 2.5 years. I graduated in 1978.
All right, so when you graduated from Texas, did you run off and get married to Maria or go do other things?
No, I moved back here, and I hooked up with Sonny Costanzo.
Whoa.
Who was a well-known, national-known trombone artist, jazz artist. He was an artist for the Selmer Music Company, and he also was the lead trombone player on the Clark Terry Big Band in New York, as well as having played in the Woody Herman Band. Well, he was starting his own jazz orchestra, and I was fortunate enough to get hired as one of his trumpet players. So from there, I've played with Sonny for 17 years in his jazz orchestra, as well as the Oakdale Pit Orchestra in Wallingford, because Sonny was also the musical contractor for the Pit.
And did you have any interaction with Barbara David from WATR? Because she used to work the Pit.
No, I did not.
She talks about all the different actors that she interviewed there. And I know you told me many times that you would get calls, maybe it was later, to go play at Oakdale when it was the theater in the round was it the guy and the lady? This is terrible. I should have boned up before the show, but I know you played with some big people. As a guest
at Oakdale.
Yes.
The shows back then were 6 to 7 shows a week per artist. So the show would come in on a Monday afternoon, we would rehearse the show, and then the show would open on Monday night and go through the weekend with a matinee on the weekend.
Love it.
So, who did I work with down there? Tony Bennett, Sammy Davis, Liberace, Steve Lawrence, Edie Gourmet.
That's the one you told me a couple times when I knew you a million years ago. I'm going to play with Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet. We're going, really?
Yeah, yeah. And then what transpired from that?
Oh, Carol Channing, Julie Andrews. I want to hear about the OJs, but what transpired from that?
What happened was the orchestra at the Oakdale was well known in the circuit of summer theaters to be a really hot orchestra. And some of the other theaters didn't have such a hot orchestra. So, for instance, Wayne Newton, would come to Oakdale.
Las Vegas, people.
Right? We would do a show, but then, if Oakdale would be dark the following week, we'd go on the road with Wayne and do a couple more theaters in the Northeast, because he liked the band so much,
Doesn't that make all the difference? You go to a wedding and you say, every now and then you go to a wedding, it might be 1 in 10, and you go to a wedding and the band is unbelievable, and you're saying, wow, this is the best wedding I ever went to. Because, you're right, Harold, there's all different levels of, how people are. Okay, now tell us a little bit more about, because you said you did some offshoot tours with Steve and Edie Gourmet, which one of the biggest acts ever. Maybe the young people don't know, but I guess Al 1 and 2 could play some tape someday. And Mitzi Gaynor. What were those shows like, and how far away did you go or stops?
Yeah,
the Melody Tent in Cape Cod.
Yes, we used to go to Melody Tent in Cape Cod. We used to go to Rhode Island. We used to go to New Hampshire. There was at Hampton Beach in New Hampshire.
Oh yeah.
There was that. The name of the place escapes
Oceanside?
me. Yeah, but it was a big, big arena, and we went up there with Wayne. We went there with Steve and Edie, and Mitzi Gaynor had pretty much a dance show. She was a dancer.
Did you have to play? Did she bring charts or?
No, everybody had charts.
Okay, and you play what they used.
Everybody had charts. The show was the same every night. I'll tell you a funny story.
All right, hold 1 second. This is Harold Zinno, my dear friend from the Harold Zinno Orchestra. If you'd like to make a phone call on topic, 203-753-7593. Carry on.
Every year we played Liberace down at the theater.
Oh, man.
And, he was quite a character. The show never changed for 10 years.
Really?
Yeah,
And he was, for those who don't know, he was a fine pianist, right?
Yes. It's just that he had his show. It was set in stone, and he did the same thing every night for 10 years, 7 nights a week.
Luckily, you weren't in that band for 10 years.
Yeah, we did it every year, yeah.
Yes, but I mean...
But not traveling.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, my God. All right, tell me about the OJs.
Yes.
With regard to that show and what they were like, because they had 3 or 4 people singing out in front in a big band themselves, didn't they?
Yes, they did. But what had happened with bands like the OJs, the Temps, the Four Tops, they would travel with their rhythm section.
Okay.
Okay. But they would hire the horns in each area that they went to.
Okay.
And they're still doing that today.
And who would be the musical director to handle how?
They travel with their own musical director.
Okay, and he would coach you guys to what you had to have, or what's the word?
Well,
coach may not be.
Well, what it is a again a 4-hour call rehearsal, and you play the show.
Love it.
And what people found out when they were coming to Oakdale, whether it be Sonny's full orchestra or just his horn section, was we had a 4-hour call, but the musical directors, once they heard the players, they'd be flipping through the pages. Okay, next, because they knew it was going to happen.
You know what you were doing.
Yeah.
And were you familiar with the OJ's music anyway? To some degree, maybe?
Not so much.
Okay, because you're a jazz guy.
Yeah, but more familiar with the temp music and the Four Tops.
And remind the audience I'm sorry to cut you off there, dude.
No, that's okay.
Remind the audience exactly who and what instruments are in the rhythm section.
In the rhythm section are bass, piano, drums, guitar, sometimes a percussionist.
Okay, that's a whole band itself.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to see. Let's see. Where do I want to go from here? Oh, okay. Well, you're very well known all over the state and probably 3 states for the your when all after all this. It says here that you started the Harold Zinno Jazz Quintet, which I've seen with my wife, my kids, numerous times in numerous places. Beautiful female singer, beautiful CD recorded by Tom Davino. You were famous for the Silver Mine Tavern. Well, that was kind of a house job for you. Was
Yes.
it every week? Tell us all about the quintet, please.
My quintet had my sidekick, who unfortunately this past Sunday passed away, the great Bill Francis,
Beautiful man.
on alto saxophone. Just a terrific part of the show. Over the years, I've had 2 different pianists. It would either be Doug Schlenk or Jim Santucci.
Both great players.
I've had 2 bass players alternating back and forth depending on availability, Dave D'Addario and John Mobilia.
Oh, 2 top guys.
Drums. The first drummer in my quintet was Mark DiPaolo,
Unbelievable.
right? And then when he, kind of simmered out and didn't want to really play anymore, Jack Vernelli.
Jackie, I call him Jackie, the artistic drummer.
And then at times, Tommy Davino.
And then singer was Nicole,
The singer,
or many probably. For
well, predominantly, the singer was Nicole Pasternak from New York, who is just a phenomenal female vocalist.
We saw her, I think you brought her in and your band for Barbara Davitt's 80
Yes.
or 90th birthday party at the
Yes.
Verdi, and boy, that band ripped.
Yes.
And so tell us about the Silver Mine Tavern on the Merritt Parkway and the beautiful, and it's one of the most beautiful CDs I've ever had that was recorded live by Tom Davino at the Silver Mine.
Yeah. The Silver Mine Tavern had a jazz series called Late in Jazz. And it was owned by Marcia Whitman, the tavern, and I think she was a pianist, as a matter of fact. I just saw a picture of her playing harpsichord on Facebook. Her and her husband Frank owned it, and they loved music. And they had this series going on, which was very prestigious, to be hired by them to play there. A lot of New York guys coming in.
Easy to get there.
Yeah, easy to get there, right off the Merritt. It was in Norwalk. So, anyways, we played there quite a bit. And my friend John Mastriani, who's a terrific alto saxophone player, he did the first recording at the Silver Mine, live at the Silver Mine, John Mastriani. So it wasn't my idea, it was his. He gave me the idea that my quintet should do a live at the Silver Mine as well. And we did it over a 2-night period. We went down there and we played the show 2 nights and stopped and started, whatever, according to Tom Davino, who recorded it, his direction. Tom was instrumental in, doing the mixing, the editing, everything in his studio on that CD. Then we both went to New York and we had it mastered down in New York and we had it pressed.
And do you still have those?
Yeah, I have a few hanging around.
I was just going to say, because it's one of the best jazz CDs, and Nicole sings like a bird. And after all these years, that CD must have been, done 20 years ago?
1995.
All right, well, that night at Barbara Davitt's party, the band was ripping, and she still sang like a bird.
Yeah, she sings wonderful.
And we remembered each other, which was cute.
Yeah.
I brought my kids to your shows. I remember that I know you do a lot of work with Verdi and Tony and Joanne.
Yeah.
And I remember when they had the newer version of Three of a Kind out on Meriden Road, there were many nights that you set up on the little higher level
Paisanos.
and spread out at Paisanos, and that was a nice place you could bring your kids
We were
as well.
We were at Paisanos every Friday night for a long time.
So stay tuned, folks. At a little after 7:30, we're going to bring Will Davis on from 3D Music Academy, where Harold is a traveling consultant. And we'll talk about that. So we talked about Silver Mine, the show. Next, Our friend Mike Davino, gifted band leader like yourself, great keyboard player. Tell us about the Harold and Mike Old School Band.
Well, Harold and Mike were longtime best friends. We go back many years. In 1978, when I first moved back here, Mike and I had a little quartet,
Really?
and we used to play in the Sheraton on East Main Street in the big garden courtyard.
Joe and Loretta Calabrese.
Right.
And why don't I know this?
And we played there every Saturday night. And the band was Mike, myself, Everett Silver, who was Chuck Mangione's drummer, and Al Principe. I'm sorry, his first name escapes me. Art Principe. So yeah, we had a little quartet. We played there. So that's
What was that, jazz or a little
yeah.
everything?
No, it was jazz.
And
Yeah.
any singer or
No sing-
instrumental?
No, strictly instrumental.
You get that strictly
Yeah,
instrumental.
and and it was a thing where my son was a baby, and Michael's daughter Stephanie was a baby, so Michael's wife and my wife, they'd get together on Saturday night with the babies at somebody's house, and Michael and I we went and we
Right.
played.
Everybody was playing.
Right.
Good story. So
Yeah.
let's graduate back to the
So
Mike and Harold
anyway,
Old
so
School Band.
so we've been dear friends all our lives, so to speak, and we kept talking about, certainly Michael had a lot of successful bands, Phase 1, Phase 2,
Mixed. No, he didn't have mixed nuts.
no, he
Dave
didn't
was
have
in
mixed
that.
nuts.
Yeah.
And we just kept talking about, let's get a horn band together, and we called it Old School. And I think it was about 14 years ago, we started rehearsing. I got all the horn charts together and everything, and we had a stellar representation of musicians, and we played our first gig in Watertown at the Red Door at the time, which was originally
place.
Fat Daddy's.
Quite the place. Yep.
Yeah.
House sound. And of course the audience was probably shocked.
Yeah, it was a good band.
It still is. You still go out once in a while.
Once in a blue moon.
I mean, I know you've played some O&G Christmas parties,
Yeah.
but you told me you had some memories of some shows from Old School. And I can tell you folks, you go to see this. This is a band that could play Hollywood if they were booked and airlines were available. You said there were a few shows that you enjoyed besides the Red Door that were the big stage and bigger audiences.
We did some summer concerts, like one in the Cheshire area. We did some Lion Club fairs, that type of thing.
It's fun. The people love it.
Yeah.
Those shows at the park in Cheshire.
Oh, and sorry for interrupting you. We did a couple of shows. One of the other bands that I helped and started playing with was Billy Calabrese's Chicago band.
You were in CTA in the beginning.
Yes.
An authentic Chicago tribute band.
Yeah, and Billy had a great Chicago band, and I started it with him. Well, not with him, but he hired me as the trumpet player.
And he also took your counsel, I'm sure.
And anyways,
He's that
and
kind of guy.
when I had finished playing with him, he had his band and we had Old School. But we did a concert together at Seven Angels. The first half was Old School, and the second half was CTA with Billy's band. That was a beautiful event.
Were you at the Wolcott Fair with Old School when Billy's band
Yes.
played? And you had four lead singers, Mario Infante, Timmy Maya, Ronnie Maya,
Yes.
and
Yes.
your late
Linda Ransom.
Linda Ransom.
Yes.
And Michael Davino, band leader that he is, Billy's band is up first. And they're just ready to go. And Michael Davino's sitting on the wall back, 100 feet away from the band. And my nickname is TA. And he's going, TA. He goes, this Billy Calabrese's band, they're all rehearsed and they're loud. I'm nervous. He was freaking out. And they got done, and Old School came up with these four singers, and my God, it was one of the best shows I ever saw. And the late, great Mario Infante, God rest his soul, like your friend Billy Cole Francis, the good
Yeah.
ones, why do the good ones go early?
Yeah.
That is one of the best shows I ever saw in my life that night with the
We had fun.
with how many bands? It was like one of those old funk bands that had four lead singers, and it just they're all meshed beautifully.
Yeah, and we had 5 horns.
Oh man, beautiful. Okay, so in a few minutes we're going to bring Willie on, but I want to just keep moving here. Um, Okay, your big band. There's how many? 17 people.
Yes.
Would you tell me about the mechanics of keeping that big band alive and everybody showing up and getting everybody paid and making everybody play in together?
Well, the big band is 4 trumpets, 4 trombones, 5 saxophones, and a rhythm section with a guest artist, sometimes a instrumentalist, sometimes a vocalist. I have a quite a library of big band charts that are arranged for that instrumentation from all eras of big band music, whether it be from the Glenn Miller era through the Buddy Rich era, up through the Gordon Goodwin big fat band area, which is a hot band right now out on the West Coast. So we have a lot of different music to please everyone. What makes it very easy is a couple of things. Number one, the guys are relegated to getting their own subs when they can't make a job.
Oh, okay, that's smart.
So it takes the heat off me of trying to go and replace somebody. Number two, group email is just a blessing. All right, I've got to hit one key and it broadcasts to all the 17 guys in my band.
And yeah, a couple gals too.
Yes.
All right. So what about the different? You have. Okay, too good. Great. 2 minutes till we bring Willie on. What about though all the different singers that want to play with you? Run down 5 or 6 of them that you use. Some come once, some come every now and then. Tell us about that part of it, because you always fill up the tent outside, and sometimes the singers bring extra people. So how does that work?
I have guest vocalists. Some of them have their own big band book, it's called, that have their own vocal charts that they'll bring with them and we'll read them. Other ones use my vocal charts. And so, each time we do a show, I have everything spread out on my kitchen table and my kitchen island, putting the program together with different charts depending on who's going to sing what, etc.
So name off some of these singers.
The singers that I've had, number one, dear friend of mine that we did the Seven Angels shows with, Mr. Walt Andrus, who we do a Sinatra show. He is by far probably the most authentic Sinatra voice in the country.
And a great singer besides.
Yeah.
Oh.
I also use this nice young lady, Atla D. Champlain. She is from the Middletown area. She is a vocal jazz instructor at the University of Rhode Island Music Department. She sings wonderful. She'll come in with her own arrangements. Yep. I use this wonderful female singer from the Southington area, Carla Zippe. She sounds wonderful when she comes in. I've used Steve DiAugustino in the past, who's down the Trumbull area. He does, Michael Bublé, Sinatra type thing. This Wednesday coming up, the band is playing at the Jameson, which is the old Red Door. And I'm using this very talented old friend of Michael's in mine, Tony Iredell.
Oh, yes. He's a piano. Rents him and his piano.
Yes. He has a wonderful, Lou Rawls, I like to say, style voice. So if you're available, come on up. You'll enjoy the show.
This Wednesday night, Red Door, Watertown, Mason. Rattle off 2 or 3 or 4 more singers.
I've used Butch Taylor. Butch, a lot of times his son does the sound for my band. And Butch, who is a phenomenal guitarist and vocalist, we've featured him with the big band.
I never saw him sing. He sings rock awesome.
Yeah, but
we only got a minute, so finish up. A few more.
But he sings, like Masquerade by George Benson,
Oh,
you know, that type of stuff.
yes.
He's excellent,
He's
you know.
he's a bad bud. How about Tom Shoot?
Oh, of course. Tom Shute, who everyone knows, former WATR manager, he does the Sinatra book as well. And we've done a lot of shows with him. Most recently, Samina De Laurentiis' retirement show at the Seven Angels.
Yeah, Timmy Maya.
Timmy Maya, who was going to be with me this coming week, that had a duplicate booking and had to back out. But Timmy,
I bet
we
you
have
couldn't.
done like tributes to Nat King Cole at the Seven Angels, where if you closed your eyes, he developed and copied every Nat King Cole voice nuance. And when he was singing it, you'd swear it was Nat
I
singing.
saw that show, and I think
You
his
know.
daughter came out of the audience in a beautiful,
Brianna.
yes, and sang, and beautiful guy. All right, I think we're up for our break here, and that is in order to bring Willie Davis in from 3D Music Academy, which Harold is a coach, teacher, friend, counselor, and we'll bring Willie in, who has a nice nonprofit. He's Chris Davis's brother, and we've had Chris on a couple of weeks ago. All our shows so far are posted on the Brass City TV YouTube page, so we hope that you'll check them out. I'm happy to take some requests, and if you want to call in, 203-753-7593, and I think we can go to break now.
Collective giving really means to take the spirit of community and translate it into the allocation of resources to causes that are most dear to our hearts.
Bring like-minded individuals together and educate on a particular issue that's important to that group.
When I think about collective giving, not only is it impactful, but it is also quite fun and social.
We start out with smaller dollars amounts, and you can give as much or as little as you want. Everyone can become a member.
Through collective giving, we can all be a philanthropist in whatever way, shape, or form it is that pops up. And it just feels really good to work with other like-minded people who are very different than myself.
Waterbury Black Giving Circle provides faith to organizations. So not just the monetary resource, but faith and also support.
It's an opportunity to learn more about the community.
Members leverage their dollars to do something bigger than they could on their own.
2/3 of Black households give charitably. How can we tap into that giving where it is not just exclusively to churches and civil rights organizations, but that people also think about foundations and legacy giving and all of the ways that collective giving is important in the community?
My favorite part, without a doubt, is the Juneteenth event and the grant-making ceremony.
Thankfully, in 2023, the Waterbury Black Giving Circle, we had our first grant round and awarded our first grants.
Just seeing the people, also seeing how proud they are to see folks in the community come out and support them.
I really enjoy the coming together, the breaking of bread, the sharing of stories, the learning together, and seeing the light bulb go off for others.
That's without a doubt my favorite part of being a part of Black Giving Circle.
That's what makes collective giving exciting.
Tom Hill Live back here at Brass City TV. We're live now. Our phone number is 203-753-7593. You can also see us on Brass City TV YouTube page if you'd like to get it that way or tell your friends. Back with my friend Harold Zinno, and he is affiliated with Will Davis at 3D Music Academy, so I'm going to throw it over to Harold.
Hi. I'd like to just briefly tell you how I got acquainted with Will and 3D Music. I was sitting home on the couch reading the paper one day, and there was an article about Will's brother, Big Doug, who I've been very fortunate and had the pleasure of doing a few shows for him. When he needs a trumpet player, he hires me, and I'm very thankful for that. But as I was reading the article on Big Dog, he mentioned his brother Willie and how he was in Waterbury and how he had this 3D Music Academy for nonprofit, for kids in the hood that want to take music lessons. And I'm like, wow, I never knew that about, Will, that he even had a brother. So I took it upon myself to contact Will and say, hey, listen, I want to come down and see what you're doing. Well, I went down one night and I was totally blown away because it's not only Will, it's the Davis family. It's Will's wife. It's Will's brothers. It's Will's sister. It's Will's sister-in-law. They're with these kids. The format is they get out of school. They get tutored. They get a home-cooked meal provided to them by the Davis family, right? I just couldn't believe what was going on, and I had to get involved. And that's how we got together. And at that, I just wanted to, introduce Will in that fashion, and I'll hand it back to you.
Thanks, Harold. Nice job. I'm fired. So, Will, tell the audience about yourself. I know you're a sportsman, but you can either go with your sports and what brought you in and out of Waterbury, or you can go with the music school and take it any way you want.
Yeah, I was blessed enough to be an athlete. I've traveled all over the world playing basketball. Music has always been my life. I've grown up being a drummer. My uncle was a gospel promoter, so a lot of chances that I got to be on the stage, playing in front of a lot of people. Knowing what it did to me, I wanted to bring that opportunity to other kids in the community. So, and that's what we're doing right now with 3D Music Academy. I have great mentors around me. I'm learning a lot about this guy right here next to me. I didn't know Harold did all of those kind of things because he just came to me naturally. Hey, I'm here to help. Anything I can do for the kids, whether it's trumpets, whether it's talking to the kids, whether it's help tutoring, whatever it is, Harold's been that guy for me. So he's a plus.
He is. He's always been a plus.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
what got the school started? Were you coming off? Tell us a little bit about the basketball career. And I know about the basketball because I showed you a building that had a gymnasium, and the basketball was not even fully inflated. And you took the thing and sunk it from 15 feet out.
Yeah.
So that's how we found out you played ball. But pro ball, tell us a little bit about that career.
Yeah, my pro career was mainly over in Europe, different countries, Austria, Germany.
Better opportunities
Cyprus.
than the U.S.?
Yeah, well, yeah, for me it was better opportunities, absolutely. Gave me a chance to grow, gave me a chance to be outside the country, develop new friendships, living amongst different cultures of people, learning new things, learning different languages, just appreciating life. That's what basketball did for me over in Europe.
And so when it was coming near the end, what was your decision-making process to come home and get the 3D music studio going?
Well, I landed in Cyprus. It's a funny story. I think I practiced 2 days, and I get a phone call from my dad, and he was like, hey, listen, you got a son here that you need to come home and raise. I was on the next flight home, and I came back home to be a dad to my kids.
Isn't that nice?
Yes, yes. Respect for my father. He was a great mentor to me. He meant a lot to me. So when he made that phone call to me, I knew it was something that I had to do.
Respect.
Without a doubt.
Without it, I love it. So how does one, I think this is a nonprofit. We've seen you at the Chamber of Commerce, both as members and as performers with your kids and your sister. I think the Chet Doheny Award dinner, which was the Dibble Awards at the Aria, you brought a big group of different players, and Big Dog came and played. We've seen you at the Southbury Chamber, which is part of the Waterbury Chamber, with your 3D jazz band that we're tearing our heads off. So good we're shocked, pleasantly so. So tell us a little bit about how this all started, how it operates, and what a nonprofit means in Will Davis's life.
You know, it's kind of interesting because, you know, when I first came back, I was going to different churches, and I would see that there was no kids playing any instruments. And that was strange because when I went to church and There was always kids playing instruments. Kids were always involved. So to myself, I said this will kind of be my way of giving back to the community, to the churches that don't have musicians, to kids that want to play an instrument. Let me start up something that I can give back to the community outside of athletics. Everyone's not going to be a basketball player, football player. You got to have something else that interests the kid.
I would agree.
So for me, it was music. So I decided to start a nonprofit, 3D Music Academy, named after my grandson, William Devon Davis III.
I love it.
That's where the 3D comes from. And yeah, I have like 31 kids right now. We teach them drums, piano. Mr. Z has been my sax player. I have Steve to do saxophones. As he said, my family is deeply involved in everything that I'm doing. But on top of the kids learning an instrument, I want them to go out and perform because that brings confidence. When you're singing or you're playing instruments in front of hundreds of people, it gives you that confidence when the teacher tells you to come up to the board and do something on the board. You have that confidence to go up there and do it.
You're giving me a sneezing fit.
Bless you.
Oh my God. How did you, I'm going to go back to them in a minute, but how did you learn to play the drums? What was your experience? Teacher, timing, how old you were?
Church. I was maybe 6 years old. And, you know, my dad was the chef for the church. So he'll be down there 5 o'clock in the morning, prepping dinners and doing different things like that.
What church?
Refuge Church of Christ in Waterbury, Connecticut. And I would be on the drum set. He would be cooking and I would be on the drum set, playing songs that the choir would sing.
Well, who taught you to play these tunes?
Myself.
Really?
Yeah. Self-taught. You know,
Harold, do you have a question? Because you may, I see you there.
No.
I don't want, were you sleeping?
No, I'm listening.
All right. All right, so.
You know, I watched drummers play.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yes, before me. And that was my interest. You know, my brother was a keyboard player. That was too hard for me. I have families that played bass guitar, guitars, lead guitars. That just didn't fit me. I wanted to be a drummer. I was always tapping, and I taught myself to be a pretty good drummer. Played a couple times with my brother, but I was always playing in church. I had that opportunity, rehearsals 3 times a week, then Sunday mornings. If the choir was going somewhere, I had the opportunity to play. Like I said earlier, my uncle was a gospel promoter, so I got a lot of time to play on big stages with him also.
And how did you get over, a lot of people have stage fright, how did you get over getting in front of these big crowds when you traveled?
Practice. And that's what I teach the kids. You practice, and once you sit down that drum set or you sit on that piano or you pick that horn up, whatever your instrument is, whatever your love is, once you pick that instrument up, when you have practice, when you have put in the time, it all comes natural. You don't see the crowd until afterwards.
Love it. Great strategy. Al, too, came in a little while ago. We were starting a conversation about opportunities in music. And when Harold was on my program, Hills Gallery at Channel 13 30 years ago, I always asked him, tell us about the benefits of music. And I think you said that it was like learning a language, whether kids were going to be musicians or not, it was good for them. Maybe you could take it from there, including Al, too, asked us from the crew about opportunities for kids playing music and what they're going to do with it.
Well, for me, the opportunities are.
I asked for Harold.
Less. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, go
ahead.
Because
go
I mean, the lessons are not even being taught in the schools right now. You know, which doesn't give the kids the opportunity to do it. And then the private places, the private lessons is very expensive. Families just can't afford it. You know, at the academy, as Harold was saying, we feed the kids, we help them with their homework, and it's all for free.
And what gave you the feeding part? How did that come about?
Kids are hungry.
Really?
Kids are hungry. And you're always going to get to a child by food. The rest is easy. Once they know, when those kids come through the door, the first thing they say, Uncle Will, what's for dinner? What are we eating today?
I love it.
But you know, you have them already. Once they're in that building, their parents know that they're safe. When those kids leave that facility, they're fed, their homework is done, and they're tired.
There's something to that. I see is that the Zac Brown country guy, who's wildly famous, and now has these concerts where he feeds everybody.
Yes.
And he's in line handing the food out. So it must be that psychology of getting closer to somebody by feeding them or showing them an opportunity.
I watched my dad do it. You know, my dad was one of the head chefs up at Holiday Hill and High Meadows.
I bet he knew my father. Did you ever buy a Chevy from Big Tom Hill Jr.?
He might have.
Yeah, 'cause he took us to Holiday Hill all the time because they bought cars.
Yeah. But, you know, I used to always wonder, all of these businessmen, they always wanted to say, they called him Big Jim. Where's Big Jim? Where's Big Jim? I'm like, he's just a chef. He's just flipping hamburgers and hot dogs and doing different things like that. But it was the person that they was looking for.
Well, all the Davises I know are pretty personable, so it was honored to have you follow up your brother to come in, because I've had the pleasure of meeting you. Let's go back, Harold, a little bit to both of you, though, because he's brought this up. The benefit of parents maybe pushing their kids towards music, the benefits, what they get out of life, and then to Al, too, who asked about musical careers and such, plus or minus.
I remember one of the things we didn't talk about was when I moved back here, I went to Quinnipiac University, and I was in a graduate program for administration. And it's not on your list. But I remember my faculty advisor saying to me that his most successful business administration candidates had undergraduate degrees in music. And, you know, to study music, to be a musician, whether you're at the performance level musician or you learned it for a hobby, it takes a certain amount of discipline in your learning to master the craft. And you can take that and carry it with you through other parts of your education and your life. So it's a good trait to develop.
And so those, they were talking about a young gal he came with that played well. What are the opportunities? Let's really, tell the truth here as far as parents guiding their kids forward. What are the opportunities in music, and how many people make it, and what's the life like, what's the pay, etc.?
I am, I always said to myself, there'd never be a generation gap between me and the other younger generations. Well, I have to take that back, because there is. Because to be honest with you, the generation now that are making music with their computer, that are, there's degrees in college for soundscaping and all kinds of different things that I never heard of. So, there's a lot of opportunities for that, as according to what I read. However,
those are commercial opportunities more than artistic, maybe.
Yeah, the opportunities to perform at a national level on an instrument, I think have dwindled quite a bit over the years. So if I'm talking to a student that, I think has a lot of potential, whether he's going to college for it, majoring in it, or whatever, I always advise him to make sure that he gets an education degree, not a performance degree. You can hone your instrument as much as an education major as you can as a performance major, yet you walk out with a piece of paper and a state certification where you could go work.
Want to add something, Will?
No, he put it right on.
That's why you have the 3D music.
That's why I have them, absolutely.
Right. Now, Harold just tried to embarrass me there, but Harold's professional. When I called him, he said, "What will I talk about for an hour?" And I said, "Anything you can think of." But then, as the consummate radio host, I whipped up my own list, Harold, Look at how professional Harold is. He's got it highlighted and really super professional. But this also shows that Harold has had a real job as well. I think that you're a construction manager, builder, consultant at Mercury Fuel for how many years?
I started at Mercury Fuel in 1996 after I got out of the music store business. Thanks to the Zinno family, they put a lot of trust in me, and I managed multi-million-dollar projects for them, and I built as a general contractor. I think probably like 10 ground-up sites around the state, and also managed the rehab of several other ones.
And they're very complicated. There's all kinds of plumbing and electrical and not just walls. It's very complicated. But I bring this up because Al, too, thank you, in the booth, brought this up to us. Even though Harold has a all-star resume and a beautiful player and very organized, he also had a real job besides his love of music. Not always music can become the real job. So that was the fine example for all the parents that here's a guy that has got a resume that'll choke a horse, but he also has his education, and he was built millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of stores, and he's still called on. What do you have to say now, Will?
Oh, I love it. You know, my real job, I work with special needs. And I'm glad I found that after I finished my career, because that's where my heart is at, right there.
They need help.
Yeah, they need help.
There was an interesting story on WTIC. There's a fella on in the afternoon, and he was talking about where is the social justice for children. And it was really a striking, Reese on the radio, 1080 AM.
Yeah.
And it was a striking discussion. So your job of special needs
Absolutely.
is really wicked important.
Oh, yes.
But also, it's just as important for those kids that have nothing to do after school, and you're going to teach them an education in music, as Harold was saying a couple of minutes ago.
Absolutely.
Before I ask a couple more questions of either, because we only have about 8 minutes to go, last chance for phone calls, 203-753-7593. If you just tuned in, Harold Zinno, master musician, band leader, performer, and Will Davis, former basketball star and now 3D Music Academy director and owner, nonprofit. Is there anything either one of you would like to say before I come up with another question?
Thanks for the opportunity.
Our pleasure.
opportunity.
Another business that Harold has, and you're going to learn a lot from him. Maybe you didn't know this one either. I always remember the Harold Zinno booking agency. Let's talk a little bit about that and how that works and some of the more prominent acts that you thought were terrific that you helped make a living and get gigs.
Well, as I said, I helped Bill Calabrese along. Not so much in getting gigs, but he was very successful in booking his band by himself. But I've helped, different bands from either a playing standpoint.
So band coach. This is
Yeah.
a band?
Yes.
Oh.
I've also have worked as the Zinno agency as a music supervisor on a lot of different recordings that happened over the years, where I would go into the studio with the scores, and while they were recording, I'd be, with the headphones listening, following along, and making sure that there were no glitches that got missed. So that's it's another part of what I did.
A finer end product that sounded correct?
Yeah. There's a gentleman who, just as a little retrospect, at one point years ago, I was the applied trumpet teacher at Central Connecticut State University in the music department. I took the place of the regular trumpet teacher when he went on sabbatical. I had some nice students up there, one of them of which was Rob Zapula, who I was his first jazz trumpet teacher. And, to this day, we're good friends. Rob's a very talented singer.
Stop. He's he's another one who sang in the big band.
Yes.
Ha!
And trumpet player as well. And he has some phenomenal CDs that he recorded over the years. And we did them down at the Carriage House Studios in Stamford. And I was the music supervisor on some of them, and also in the trumpet section on some of them. The power station events owned by my dear friend Al Vagnini. He is a phenom in my estimation. He started out as a DJ many years ago in Naugatuck with a partner.
He is a phenom.
Okay. He has grown Power Station to be a Northeast leader in event production and management. And he still has his DJ arm of the business that does a lot of weddings. And the reason why I say that is my booking agency is their jazz specialist. When they get a bride and groom that's looking for jazz, whether it be for a cocktail hour and or the reception, they pick up the phone and they call me. And under the auspices of Power Station, I arrange all the musicians.
Do you want to give a phone number for the Zinno agency, or an email, or a website?
Yeah, it's zinnoagency@gmail.com, 203-232-9198.
Will, you got a minute to say anything you want.
If you have any kids ages 5 to 18 that's interested in picking up an instrument, 3dmusicacademy.com, bring them on down. I'm sure they will enjoy themselves.
Harold, your final statement, please.
My final statement
And not
is,
just one sentence.
I'd like to thank you for the opportunity of inviting me to come on the show and
I'd like to-
allowing me to bring Will with me, who I have a lot of belief in and admiration for what he's doing.
I'd like to thank you for the many years of entertaining me with all your bands. And you're a gentleman, and every now and then if there's a lull and you need an announcer, you're going, Tom Hill, get up here. So you're good peeps. It's a two-way street. All right, so we're wrapping it up here at Brass City TV, Tom Hill Live. I'm Tom Hill III. I'm a CCIM SIOR, an elite commercial real estate broker. My website is tomhill.com. And my radio site for TV, Brass City TV, and the Strike Zone Studios is tomhillradio.com. We thank you very much for tuning in. I have no idea who we have next week, but come back and you'll find out. Woohoo! Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome.